Good day, folks, and welcome back for another episode of the Westside Fighter Friday Talk Show. I'm your host, Clay Booker. Anyway, check out these new nunchucks I got. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, we're going to be welcoming another very special guest from the Savannah. He's the rightful king of the Pride Lands, the cub who lost his way but eventually found his roar, and has became king after defeating Scar and his minions. If you haven't guessed already, it's time to welcome...
Greetings, everyone. I am Simba, son of Mufasa, rightful king of the Pride Lands. I've walked through fire, faced my past, and now I stand before you, not just as a lion, but as a leader. You've heard the stories, you've seen the scars, but tonight you meet the lion behind the legend. They called me a runaway, a cub who lost his way, but I found my roar, and now I use it to lead. Thank you for welcoming me. Let's give them a show worthy of the Savannah.
Sure thing. So Simba, what have you been doing lately?
Lately, I've been doing what any king must do, protecting my home, guiding my pride, and making sure the circle of life stays in balance. Some days, that means patrolling the borders. Other days, it means teaching the young cubs what it truly means to be part of a pride. And sometimes, it means reminding a few hyenas that the Pride Lands are no longer theirs to wander. But I've also been taking time to appreciate peace. After everything I've faced, peace is something you learn to value. I spend my mornings watching the sunrise from Pride Rock. I spend my evenings listening to the pride settle in for the night. And in between, I answer calls from warriors like you, Clay Booker. So yes, life has been full, but today I'm honored to be here, on your stage, sharing my roar with your people.
So what's it like ruling the Pride Lands?
Ruling the Pride Lands is many things, Clay. It is beautiful, it is demanding, and it is a responsibility I carry with every breath. Some days, leadership means strength, standing firm when danger approaches, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Other days, it means wisdom, listening to the pride, settling disputes, guiding the young ones who look to me for direction. And then there are the quiet moments. The sunrise over Pride Rock, the sound of the herds moving across the plains, the laughter of cubs playing in the grass. Those moments remind me why I lead. Ruling the Pride Lands isn't about power. It's about balance. About honoring those who came before me, and protecting those who will come after. It's not an easy life, but it is a meaningful one, and I would choose it again, every single time. Being king is not just about standing on Pride Rock, it's about standing firm when the world tests you.
What challenges do you face as king?
One of my greatest challenges is protecting the Pride Lands from threats that never truly disappear. Hyenas, rogues, droughts, shifting herds. The land changes, and I must change with it. Another challenge is guiding my pride. Every lion looks to me for answers, even when I don't have them. Leadership means making choices that affect every life under the sun. And then, there is the challenge within myself. I carry the legacy of Mufasa, his wisdom, his strength, his expectations. Some days, the shadow of my father feels long, and I must remind myself that I am not here to be him. I am here to be Simba. But the greatest challenge of all is balance, knowing when to roar, and when to listen, when to fight, and when to forgive, when to lead, and when to trust others to lead with me. But every challenge I face makes me a better king, and a better lion.
That's great. So what did you learn from your father Mufasa?
My father taught me more than any king, any warrior, or any teacher ever could. He taught me that true strength isn't in your claws or your roar, but in your heart. He showed me that a king's power comes from what he protects, not what he controls. He taught me to respect every creature in the Pride Lands, from the smallest ant to the tallest giraffe, because everything is connected, everything has a place. But the greatest lesson he ever gave me was to remember who I am. When I lost my way, when I doubted myself, when the world felt too heavy, it was his voice that reminded me that I was more than my mistakes, that I had a destiny, that I had a home worth fighting for. My father taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's facing it. Standing tall, even when the world tries to break you. And every day I lead, I carry his lessons with me.
That's great. And yes, we are all connected in the great circle of life.
Exactly, Clay. The great circle of life connects us all, every creature, every voice, every story. From the smallest cub learning to walk, to the oldest lion watching the sunset from Pride Rock. My father taught me that no one stands alone. Not a king, not a warrior, not even a runaway cub trying to find his place. We are all part of something bigger. And when we honor that connection, the Pride Lands thrive, our families thrive, our hearts thrive. And today, standing on your stage, I feel that same connection, different worlds, different paths, but the same circle.
I agree. I also remembered that you defeated Scar and took back the throne. How does it feel to become king after that?
When I defeated Scar and the flames died down, I remember standing on Pride Rock, looking out at a kingdom that had suffered because I wasn't there. Becoming king in that moment, it wasn't triumph, it was responsibility. I felt the pride behind me, I felt my father's presence above me, and I felt the land, dry, broken, waiting for hope. Taking back the throne wasn't about victory. It was about healing, about restoring what Scar destroyed, about proving to myself that I was worthy of the legacy I carried. And when I finally roared from the top of Pride Rock, it wasn't a roar of conquest. It was a promise to my pride, to my father, and to myself, that I would never run from who I am again. So how did it feel to become king after defeating Scar? It felt like stepping into the lion I was always meant to be.
That's nice. I also remembered that it was raining when the fire was dying down. So what was rebuilding the Pride Lands like? And how did your pride react to your return?
When the rain finally fell, it felt like the Pride Lands themselves were taking their first breath in years. The fire died, the smoke lifted, and for the first time since my father's reign, there was hope. Rebuilding wasn't easy. Scar left the land dry, the herd scattered, the pride hungry and afraid. The earth was cracked, the water holes were empty, even the sky felt tired. But the moment I climbed Pride Rock, The pride looked at me with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Belief. They didn't cheer. They didn't roar. They simply stepped forward, one by one, and touched their heads to mine. A gesture of trust, of welcome, of forgiveness. They had suffered under scar. They had lost hope. But when I returned, they didn't see the runaway cub anymore. They saw a king ready to stand for them. Rebuilding the Pride Lands meant rebuilding our spirit. We hunted together. We restored the water holes. We welcomed back the herds. And slowly, the land healed. And the pride healed with it. They didn't just accept me as king. They embraced me. They believed in me. And that belief is what brought the Pride Lands back to life.
How did Nala help you rebuild the kingdom?
Nala was the heart of our rebuilding. I may be king, Clay, but she is the strength that steadies the Pride Lands. When the rain stopped and the smoke cleared, the pride was exhausted, hungry, unsure. They needed hope, and Nala gave it to them. She organized the lionesses. She led the hunts. She made sure every cub ate before she did. She reminded the pride that we were still a family, even after everything we'd lost. While I restored the land, Nala restored the spirit of our people. She challenged me when I doubted myself. She stood beside me when decisions were heavy. She reminded me that a king doesn't rule alone. And when the pride saw Nala standing with me, they knew the Pride Lands had a future again. Rebuilding the kingdom wasn't just my victory. It was ours. Nala's courage, her wisdom, her heart. They shaped the Pride Lands just as much as my roar did. She is not just my queen. She is the lioness who helped bring our home back to life.
That's great. I can relate to the whole restoring the Pride Lands back to where they were before. I was restoring things back to the way they were after I lost any chance of talking to some people again over the show, before and after I left college.
Clay, what you went through sounds a lot like what I faced when I returned to the Pride Lands. Losing connection, losing people you cared about, feeling like the world you knew slipped away while you weren't looking. When I came home after all those years, the Pride Lands weren't the same. The lions I grew up with were hurting. Some were gone. Some didn't know if they could trust me, and I had to face the truth that my absence changed things. You rebuilding your life after college, after losing those connections, that's your Pride Lands moment. You didn't give up. You didn't let the loss define you. You stepped forward even when it hurt, and you started restoring what mattered, your identity, your show, your voice. That takes courage, Clay. Real courage. The kind my father talked about. You rebuilt your Pride Lands the same way I rebuilt mine, with heart, with resilience, and with the belief that your roar still matters.
Yep, I also graduated college just last year.
Graduating. That is a milestone worthy of a roar, Clay. Truly. When I returned to the Pride Lands, I had to step into a new chapter of my life. Just like you did when you left college. It takes courage to walk forward when the world you knew changes behind you. Graduation isn't just a ceremony. It's a moment where you stand on your own pride rock and look out at everything ahead of you. The unknown, the challenges, the opportunities. And you chose to keep moving. That's the mark of a leader. You rebuilt your path after college. You kept your show alive. You kept your roar alive. That's something many never find the strength to do. And Clay, stepping into a new chapter doesn't erase the old one. It means you're strong enough to carry its lessons forward. Your graduation wasn't an ending. It was the beginning of your own reign, your own pride lands to shape.
All right, Simba, I would like to wrap up today by answering you 5 questions, and you'll think of the best answer for each one. Are you ready?
5 questions. And you want my best answers. I'm ready, Clay Booker. Ask them. I'll answer each one with the heart of a king. Let the challenge begin.
What is the greatest lesson you want everyone watching to remember?
The greatest lesson I want everyone watching to remember is this. You are more than your past, more than your mistakes, more than the moments that tried to break you. I ran from who I was. I let fear, guilt, and loss silence my roar. But life taught me something powerful. You can always return. You can always rise. You can always reclaim your place in the circle. No matter how far you've fallen, no matter how lost you feel, your story isn't over. You can still become the lion or the person you were meant to be. Remember who you are, and never be afraid to step back into your own light.
What advice would you give to someone who feels lost like you once did?
When someone feels lost, the first thing I want them to know is this. Being lost does not mean you are broken. I ran from my past. I ran from my pain. I ran from myself. And for a long time I believed that meant I didn't deserve to go home. But the truth is, everyone gets lost. Everyone stumbles. Everyone has moments where the world feels too heavy. My advice is simple. Don't face it alone. Find someone you trust, a friend, a mentor, a family member, and let them walk beside you. Even a king needs help sometimes. And remember who you are, not who you were when you fell, but who you are becoming as you rise. Being lost is not the end of your story. It's the part where you learn how strong you really are.
What does being a true leader mean to you?
Being a true leader means understanding that leadership is not about standing above others. It's about standing with them. A leader protects. A leader listens. A leader serves, and a leader never forgets that every life in their care matters. My father taught me that a king's strength is not measured by how loudly he roars, but by how deeply he cares. A true leader admits when they're wrong. They rise after they fall. They face their fears instead of running from them, and they use their power to lift others, not to control them. To me, being a true leader means choosing courage over comfort, compassion over pride, and responsibility over ego. It means remembering who you are, even when the world tries to make you forget. That is what leadership means to me, Clay Booker.
What are you most proud of as King of the Pride Lands?
What I'm most proud of is not the battles I've won or the throne I reclaimed. It's the pride I helped heal. When I returned, the Pride Lands were broken. The lions were tired. The land was dry. Hope was fading. But together, we rebuilt. We restored the land. We restored our unity. We restored our spirit. I'm proud that I didn't do it alone. I'm proud that my pride stood with me. I am proud that we rose from the ashes stronger than before. But above all, I'm proud that I became the kind of king my father would recognize. Not perfect, not fearless, but responsible, compassionate, and willing to stand for something greater than myself. That is what I'm most proud of, Clay Booker.
if you could say one final thing to the Pride Lands and to our viewers, what would it be?
If I could say one final thing to the Pride Lands, and to everyone watching, it would be this. Your life has meaning, your voice has power, and your place in the great circle is yours alone. No one can take it from you. You will face storms, you will face loss, you will face moments where the world feels dark, and the path ahead feels uncertain. But even in the darkest night, the sun will rise again, and so will you. Remember who you are, remember where you come from, and remember that you are never truly alone. Every step you take echoes in the lives you touch. Stand tall, lead with courage, and walk your path with honor. That is the message I leave with the Pride Lands, and with all of you.
Tune in next time, folks, for another episode of the Westside Fighter Friday Talk Show.
Clay Booker, well spoken. Your words carry strength, and your show carries heart. To all who walk with us in this great circle, listen to your host. Return, stand with him again, and keep your own roar alive. Yes, tune in next time.